Okay, jumping right into it, won't waste your time. Dokkan Diamond of all 2024 releases. I'll show you my diamond. Um, Initially, I would probably say the like looking at like just like the top row, who is like arguably above these characters. I think AGLUI, like this is a tiny bit of hindsight because I'm kind of basing them how good of a release they were, and so obviously them aging incredibly well does matter. But I think Broly, on release, like you could say Broly was handled extremely well, but also I think Broly, the reason I would just never put Broly above UI Goku is the domain nonsense they did. Just mid like that's terrible like decision making. That was just a bad release. Like they did that, and that kind of ruined this release for me. Tech UI possibly above this. Like it's a same thing kind of, but it's more so with me with Tech UI. It's how boring his base is, and then how like weird and strange I found his kit to be after transforming. Like they sort of he was like designed to counter the Goku and Frieza fight, because it's like the Goku and Frieza fight, has that dodge canceling phase with the 17 and Golden Frieza, but then it also has the final phase, which has like a damage block, and the final phase is also super class, and so it's like he's basically buffing Goku and Frieza in the final phase with his domain, and then he's also like unable to penetrate their not damage guard, but he's unable to penetrate their damage threshold. Their threshold is like you have to do 10 million or more damage, and he's not doing all his damage on one big attack. He's doing his damage in like a bunch of counters, and so it's like very often you would just do counter zero, counter zero, counter zero, counter zero, counter zero, and it's like, dude, that was extremely detrimental to I think this character, and I think that just, in my opinion, you could like move him a bit lower even, because like this Tech Gogeta was the best unit, basically the best unit in the game on release, and I just don't think that was the case for this Tech UI Goku. In Evolution Blue Vegeta, I mean, like I said, when you start talking about like aging and stuff, it definitely then matters that this Fat Boo was like, he is like, this Fat Boo and this AGLUI Goku are like the two best aging characters in Dokkan history by like a mile. Like no one really comes close to them. It's just the revive plus Ghost Usher on this guy, and like the guarantee dodge plus revive plus dodge after the revive on AGLUI. It's just like it really is extremely broken. Like across the top of the list, STR Beast Gohan, I think we all know, on release day he was the best unit in the game, like ever. Like he had there was the biggest gap between him and the next best unit, I think, in Dokkan history. I think like especially, and then when we start talking about like difficult content, like people often would bring up that you couldn't beat the most difficult, or you couldn't beat the Dokkan events without STR Gogeta, which wasn't the case. But it's not like you could beat, it's not like the 2024 content was unbeatable without, what was his name, like Beast Gohan. Like it was very beatable. Beast Gohan was just like ridiculously easy. He made it incredibly easy. So I think he is like arguably the best unit in the game on release in terms of gap between him and the next best unit. I think you could definitely say STR Gogeta is better, but I started playing during Global's first anniversary, so I used STR Gogeta, and I definitely think STR Gogeta, like, he felt a bit like better. I feel like there didn't exist situations where I felt like other characters, I'd rather have them instead of Gogeta, or them instead of Beast Gohan. But like that Blue Gogeta fight, if you remember, during the 9th anniversary, the Supreme Magnificent Battle, that fight with his stunning definitely made me feel like Gogeta, this Blue Gogeta, his focus was a bit stronger, and so I enjoyed using that more. The Super Saiyan Trio, looking at this row, the Super Saiyan Trio and the Family Coming Out, only ones I didn't talk about in this row. The Super Saiyan Trio, I think they were an incredibly good release. I just think like when you like are rating releases, how good of a release they are. I mean, we're talking about Z Broly, Evolution of Vegeta isn't like crazy hype, but he is like, he's still like a pretty hype. He's, Tournament of Power slop, which, people, that is like just objectively hype. That's what Tournament of Power was made to be. It was made to be hype. With Ultra Instinct Goku, we have Beast Gohan, we have Gogeta Blue. It's just, this character should be higher. This character could be one, especially with how unique their kit was. I think this was a very fun unit to use because, in my opinion, they haven't really like, LR Omega Shenron and this character are like the two closest things in terms of like how close to this character have they gotten like since then. But like this character being so unique and so strong and like the best unit in the game definitely makes me want to put them at 1. But like I said, they're just, when you're rating a release, kit animations and strength, our kit animations and character pick are what matter the most. They just don't have the character pick. Like, this is just not as hype. Like, this is not as hype as, this Blue Gogeta. And I think that being Blue Gogeta makes up for it, the difference in how good this character was on release compared to the Super Saiyan Trio. Moving in the next row, we have like Tech UI Goku. I talked a bit about Tech UI Goku. The turn 5, listen, I personally would have Tech UI Goku 1 or 2. I don't think I talked about Z Broly, but like comparing them to Z Broly, how do you transform Z Broly? When you want. How do you transform with this character? Turn 4 from start of battle above 70% HP. How do you transform with this character? This character's 5th turn from first appearance. It's just not, that's not enjoyable. That's not how you design characters. That's not how you make kits. That's not how you do things. That's very, very boring. I hate that. It's very unenjoyable. I wish they had made this turn 5 from start of battle. Looking at like the other characters in this row, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, just like an exceptional release. Like, he was just extraordinarily strong, like best TUR level. Int Broly, definitely a bit of a wonky character with like some flaws, but like regardless, he's a Z Broly from the second movie, extremely hype, and he was a really like strong character. And his domain, they did a good job with making sure his domain did not overlap with this character's domain, because this character's domain is also like a big point of contention for him. Like I said, why I don't have him at 1. If they had just handled the domains better with this guy and handled his transformation condition better. But like, this guy's domain is like, okay, first 3 turns you have it, and then this guy's domain is this character's 5th turn. So it's like, you can have this domain active at the start and then this domain active later on. But they shouldn't have even need to done all that. They should have just like handled the domains better and let you use them when you want, so that this guy wasn't tied to like any weirdness. Because like, then you could still get situations where it's like this guy's domain runs out, but you're on his team, and so you want to use the second one's domain so that he could survive that. But then full power Broly, like, you also want to use his, because this is like the best unit in the game transform, you know what I mean? At least offensively he was. So like that definitely is a bit of an issue. And then we also had, obviously, you guys know, the super bosses issue. Like, if you want to run super bosses with this guy, you run 2 of this guy, both of them can't transform, and then they dropped Physical Rose, who also was the super bosses leader and needed a domain to transform. So it's just like, there's a bunch of issues with this guy. But this guy, luckily, it wasn't a transformation, it was just like massive buffs, and he got it from, the friend or his domain. So I think I guess this character is, I guess, a bit more similar to Omega Shenron. Omega Shenron is like a mix of this character and this character put together. The Super Saiyan Trio and the Int Broly. Cell Max, just like, I didn't talk about Family Kamehameha, but like Family Kamehameha and Cell Max. Family Kamehameha was like best unit in the game on release. They like even better than Beast Gohan. And like, it wasn't like, a bit of an issue I have with standbys is it never felt like you were charging strong enough. It always felt like you had to do like Boma and like, crazy other stuff. Like, now it's like the Super Saiyan 4s, and like you have to do crazy juicing to make the 8th anniversary LR like standbys be like insane. But I felt like with this character, you didn't have to do crazy juicing. What was in this character's kit and what their standby was designed to do, you just got to do it, and they were just insanely powerful with that. It actually, you felt the strength of charging their standby. And so that definitely, like, that was a major reason I have this character so high, and especially them just like being able to one-shot the hardest phase in the game, the Goku and Frieza. Like, that was insanely impressive. Like I said, it actually felt like you were charging the standby up to something, whereas with the Boo duo it sort of feels like, okay, I'm charging the standby, but that almost comes second to like the situation I use it in, like the other characters that are juicing them around them. So Max, like he was like basically designed like Beast Gohan, just a bit weaker, except for he was truly invincible on his active skill turn. Beast Gohan was quote unquote invincible. There were situations where Beast Gohan could get slammed by Goku and Frieza, but this guy, like, he suffered from just the Super Bosses team being a goddamn mess. The Evolution Blue Vegeta, Blue Kaken Goku, this character was just incredibly fun, incredibly strong. They were weak to AoEs and locking, like in the Gogeta fight, but like they were just so fun and so strong, and those mechanics were so uncommon back in this meta that like it was like you weren't getting them sledded out extremely often. But if they weren't like invincible, they were just like an incredibly fun, incredibly strong. Like on the major teams you wanted them, they flew well. A Rainbow Orb Changer, so many attacks, debuffing if they needed it, like just massive, just like a all around W Dokkan Fest LR release. I wish this character felt as good as they did on their EZA as they did when they initially released in 2020 at Tanabata. Next row, Tech Vegeta Sunday release. He was very good. You guys know, best UR on release. AGL Jiren, he was just a really, really strong character, especially for the Goku and Frieza fight, but he obviously could occasionally be caught in that 17 fight with, you know, being an AGL character that isn't guarding, not a slot one right away type of character. He could obviously be caught, but him having that invincibility, like even like, dude, in the this guy is like viable right now in like the Tamagami fight. Like that's how like good he was, because him just like having that invincibility on those second turned was just very strong, and the support is still strong. And if you put him in slot 2 when he's in his standby, slot 2 or 3 I believe, he gives 2 key and 70% attack. The Gammas, they were a well-handled release. In my opinion, I think they were a bit undertuned. I think they just needed like more oomph. Like that for the characters in this anniversary, them releasing Beast Gohan as strong as they did, I think this character, Broly, and Gogeta Blue needed to be a bit stronger. I think they just needed to like do more. Like Gogeta's transformation should have been like turn 3 from start of battle. This guy's transformation should have been turn 4 from start of battle. These guys should have just been way stronger in base, way stronger like wild like standby, like, you know what I mean? Like they should have been doing more, in my opinion. The STR, this is like, I have to put them high because it's a STR Vegito EZA, but like in reality, I hate this character EZA. If there is any EZA in Dokkan history that I can confidently say that like is my least favorite, it is this character's EZA. I hate it. This was one of the most unfun characters to use upon EZA in Dokkan history. The transformation, this is what I'm saying. I made a video about the active skill conditions and how active skill conditions not being able to be changed upon EZA is ruining EZAs, and it's going to ruin them moving forward. It's just like, this is like it's like, this is like one of my, like, I'm a big Vegito fan. Like this character, turn 4 below 70% HP, like it's just, that's not enjoyable. It's not consistent. It's not fun. And when you have a character that also has like baseline, their base is like extremely finicky, can just get slammed whenever, but they also want to stack defense, and they just made them very weak defensively in Vegito. If you don't stack defense, it's like, it was not an enjoyable character to use. I think on release, people thought they were a lot better than they end up being. I guess looking at like characters that I missed, you guys can look very quickly at this bottom row. This 50% support EZA was good. Buhan was incredibly good. This was just a good EZA. It was not super competitive. Slug was a very good Dokkan Fest villain. Slug is a good Dokkan Fest villain pick. He has like Thirst for Conquest, Big Bad Bosses, stuff like that. That just makes him Metamorphosis. Just makes him a really good pick. Him and Android 13 have some of the best villain link sets in the game. So them just like being strong helps villains a lot. Topo was incredibly good, but I think I didn't even think about it. Replacing Topo with Buhan would make sense. Janemba was like exceptionally good. These characters released in the same year. Like it's kind of crazy to me. This was a good combo on release, and it's a good combo like on EZAs, but I guess it was like a bit like they didn't have like any consistent team, I believe, where you could run them together. There wasn't like a transformation boost leader, but you know, it's like I feel like this is like pretty acceptable. I don't think there's any like content. I don't think people will be too mad. Maybe they'll be like, oh, why is 50% support Pan on here? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, dude, let's look at the EGL releases, man. Like, who are we gonna have above them? Nail, this guy, you. Like, I don't know. Like, you definitely not. Like, you know. I don't know. Like, there's no one I could put comfortably above that character. Like, King Vegeta, no. You, no. Like, it's just no. I wouldn't have anyone above them. We could look at tech really quickly. Let's look at tech. Anyone I perhaps missed. Tech Jiren, Easy A, no. Nah. Tech is pretty competitive. I think Buhan being that last slot is definitely like a bit of a gatekeeper. I don't think anybody else would make it on here. Yeah. Mr. Buu, a very good release, but still. Tech Ultimate Gohan, a good release, but not like great. Yeah, no one makes it above them. We can look at Int really quickly. This Int Broly, like the Int was not super competitive. Like I said, we had the anniversary Easy A in last. Like, this character definitely a bit underwhelming. The heroes characters, I couldn't confidently put them on here. And like, dude, it starts like around like dude. Oh, I guess it starts back here. For some reason, I guess this guy's after this, or this guy's before this guy. But I wouldn't put Ginyu on here. Maybe you could argue Ginyu above this guy, but it's like at that point it's like personal preference. But like let's look at STR. 50% support Kaba. I wouldn't put him above Slug. The Super Easy A, I wouldn't have him above Slug. STR Turles, I wouldn't have him above Slug. I would not have Roshi above Slug. I wouldn't have Universe Tree Goku. Yeah, I wouldn't have any of them. Videl. No. None of these characters I would have above Slug. And Physical for last. Like I said, I did take off Topo for 50% supports. No, I wouldn't have either above Buhan. Wouldn't have you above Buhan. Not Sleepy Beerish. Definitely not Broly, Chile, and Lemo. Physical Goten and Trunks, I really like them, but I wouldn't have them above Buhan. This Banner Unit's release was actually extremely good, but I unfortunately would not have them above Buhan. I think there's a slight bit of an argument to be made there, but let me know what you guys think. I think this is a pretty objective, I don't want to say pretty objective, but I think this is a pretty standard list. I don't think many people will disagree with the general placements. There might be a bit of like, once we get like, oh, this character should be above this character, like one or two placements, you know, swap around, or the bottom may have one character out and someone new in, especially on like AGL or INT.